Hi, welcome to That Medic Network's webinar series. My name is Lahari Ramini, and I am the U.S. Leadership webinar host. With me today, I have Hannah Hendrix, a medical student at the Ohio State University College of Medicine and the national president for the American Medical Student Association. Hannah, to start for today, could you tell us a little bit about how you first got into medicine and how did you get here?
Sure. Well, to start off, I was not somebody who always knew they were going to go into medicine. Until I started college, I was very convinced that I was going to be a book editor. Those were the days. Um, I majored in women, gender, and sexuality studies. It was all very much not the pre-med typical track. But the more that I went through school, I realized like I was really missing science classes and um but I knew that I didn't want to work in a lab, that I wanted to work with people. Um and medicine was really the natural extension of that and of the sort of community work that I had been doing in undergrad as well. Um, so I added on a bio major. I took my pre-med prereqs and I took the MCAT and I applied. Um, and I was lucky enough to already be living in Ohio, um, which has an abundance of medical schools, um, and was fortunate enough to be accepted here at Ohio State, which has been honestly amazing. So, yeah, that's kind of where I got to where I am today.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we hear in the medical field that a lot of people that end up going to medical school are like, oh, I've wanted to be a doctor since since kindergarten or since, some major life event as a child. So it's
No, I was a very directionalist child.
yeah. No, I kind of resonate with that. And I think our viewers would also I think that there's a lot of reassurance in hearing that as well. So to begin, could you tell us a little bit about your work with the American Medical Student Association?
Sure. I actually got started with AMSA when I was in undergrad still. They do have a pre-med arm. Um, and a medical student who was at the same university where I was an undergrad came and spoke to us. He was a national leader for AMSA, and he came and spoke to us about starting a pre-med chapter. Um, and he went really the extra mile to get a few of us to go to the AMSA National Convention, where I got to I think I saw Lena Wen speak, and like the president of Planned Parenthood at the time, and it was like this incredible outpouring of just like energy and advocacy. We started off the whole thing with a day on Capitol Hill speaking with our legislators. Um, and it was so amazing. I remember my friend was driving us home to Dayton, and I was sitting in the passenger seat with my laptop, like drawing up our chapter charter as we drove home. Um, and I also applied for a national leadership position that year as the women's programming coordinator on our Gender and Sexuality Action Committee, which was an incredible opportunity for a pre-med student to get that chance to work with medical students and to work on like a broader advocacy stage.
Yeah.
Mm.
How did you end up becoming president for the next following year?
Oh, this was um, so that was when I was in undergrad. That was 4 years ago now. Um, so I had a year in the Gender and Sexuality Action Committee. I worked with the Wellness and Student Life Action Committee for a year on suicide prevention and awareness work. I served for a year as one of our regional membership directors, who is like a liaison between the chapters and national. And then the following year, so that would have been spring of 2020. Yes, 2020. I was elected um, as president elect. So I've spent the last year as president-elect learning how to do this job because it is a full-time job.
Hmm.
So I kind of worked my way up a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, and that friend who first introduced me to AMSA and like pulled strings to get us to go to the conference is a close friend of mine who is now a family med resident, but he was the AMSA president 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Mhm.
so part of it is also like excellent mentors and more than mentors, also sponsors, people who put you forward for things, even when you are not sure that you can do them.
Yeah.
Uh, so excellent to have those kind of people on your side.
That's really amazing. What do you see as, going into the following year as president? What do you see like your responsibilities being, and what do you see big, issues of advocacy or other important aspects that AMSA handles coming up?
Sure. So my role as president is really to, um, so this is in a slightly different sense than like a chapter president would be. I'm the president of our board of trustees, which governs the organization.
Hmm.
Um, and I am kind of in parallel with the CEO in our hierarchical structure.
Right.
Um, for this year, I make the major decisions involving our priorities for advocacy and things like that. And I also serve as a spokesperson for the organization during that time. That includes like signing on to letters of support for different legislature or letters of opposition, as the case may be,
Hmm.
um, building networks with other advocacy organizations, um, like Lower Drug Prices Now and Healthcare for America, or Healthcare for America Now,
Hmm.
um, as well as some of our other uh, efforts like the Made to Save Vaccine Equity Coalition, um, that's currently in their month of action right now.
Hmm.
Um, so those are some of my main jobs. As far as our advocacy priorities for the year, after a lot of thought, we decided to focus down to three things broadly, which are health equity, reproductive justice, and medical education reform.
Really, really important issues.
Yes, and near and dear to my heart, special passion projects, each one.
Hmm.
So it'll be exciting to be able to work on some things that I care a lot about
Yeah.
that are also important to AMSA and I know are really pressing issues for the field of medicine at large.
Yeah. Well, we're really excited to see what the next year looks like for AMSA, for you, and everything.
My name is Dr. Sudal Mao. I am a former HLA scholar, FY2 doctor in West Yorkshire. The HLA is a great experience. It's a unique experience and it's a personal and engaging mentorship process which gives you a pragmatic and realistic approach to true leadership which we can take on to all aspects of our career.
So, to switch gears a little bit, I want to ask you about your experience as an interviewer and on the admissions committee for the Ohio State School College of Medicine. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Ohio State, I'm not sure how many colleges of medicine do this. Um, so that's a caveat, but Ohio State always has students on its admissions committee. Every student who interviews here will have an interview with a student. Um, and every deliberation committee that meets to evaluate each student who interviews has, I think, 4 of the 9 deliberators are students. Um, so those can range from second year to fourth year students. Uh, very few third years
Mhm.
for scheduling conflicts, but
Yeah.
um, at the end of our first year, we had the opportunity to apply to be on the admissions committee. And those of us who were selected underwent special bias recognition training with the rest of the admissions committee at the start of our year of interviewing. And it's really been such an amazing experience to meet so many students who are just frankly incredible. Honestly, it seems like every year you all get better and better and better. So it's super cool to sit down and talk with people about the things that they care about and have been working on for the last few years, and to be part of hopefully them getting to you know, one step closer to their goal of becoming a physician. Because your role as an interviewer is really 99% of the time to be an advocate for your interviewee, to get to know them and then to talk them up on paper. So that when they get in front of the deliberation committee is like, of course, yeah, this person is amazing. So if this is the direction we're going, my number one advice is to really just try to let your interviewers see who you are. We know that people are nervous. I was incredibly nervous during my medical school interviews. But if they can see who you are, it's going to be easier for them and easier for you to tell whether that school is a fit for you.
Yeah. Thank you. That's really good advice. A lot of times we end up forgetting that the interviewers aren't trying to like be against us or try to like trip us up. They're trying to get to really know who we are.
We're rooting for you. We can't always say it out loud, but we are. I've never met a med school interviewer who wanted somebody to do poorly. Never, ever.
I was actually going to ask you for advice you had for students interested in medicine going forward, and leadership, and even getting involved with AMSA.
Yeah. One thing I think that is a little bit unique about my experience these days is that I did not do any research before starting medical school. That is certainly a rarity at Ohio State. And is in some other places, I imagine as well. And sometimes people ask me, like, how does that work? But really, it shows. I believe that it shows when you care about the things that you do. So your extracurricular activities and things that you put on your applications or you put on your resume, if there are things that you do over a period of time and things that you love, I think that shines through. And personally, I always want to fight just a little bit harder for a student who shows me that they really truly care about the difference that they're making doing a certain thing, than somebody who checks all the boxes but doesn't seem invested in that thing. So that's my advice generally about preparing for applying to medical school. In terms of getting involved with AMSA, certainly if you have a local chapter, that is an excellent place to start. And we are currently in the process of trying to be a little bit more engaged with our chapters at the national level, bring them into some of the things that we're working on in terms of advocacy and training, so that we can get people the skills that they need to make a difference in their own community. And that is one of our, I think one of our biggest things is preparing students to someday be physicians who are advocates, who can talk to their legislators and their representatives about issues that are important to their patients' health and their patients' lives. And AMSA is an excellent place to start with that. We have tons of resources on our website about advocacy for members, even if you don't have a local chapter. National level members can exist independent of a chapter. And for all of our members, all of our scholars programs, including our Trans Health Scholars Program, Global Health Scholars Program, leadership programs, are all free for our members. And they are incredible opportunities to get to know other students from across the country and sometimes around the world who are interested in the same thing you are. And those culminate in an advocacy project that you can get a little bit more guidance with if you need it. And they're truly an excellent opportunity to learn some things that maybe aren't always covered in our med school curricula.
Being a physician or becoming a physician and connecting that to advocating to your patient's health as well is an issue that's up and running and important, and that people are getting involved with that.
Yeah, I think something we say a lot in AMSA is that despite what we individually may think, our voices are powerful. Like, we are the future physicians, and that includes pre-med students too. Your future physicians, your legislators care what you have to say. You are more informed than the general public about matters relating to health. And it is important to speak up because because legislators don't always have staff who can fact check everything. And it helps them to hear from people who know more. And that includes pre-medical students.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us today and telling us about your journey and about AMSA and what, the advice that you provided for students interested in medicine. I'm Lahari, and this has been Hannah Hendrix, and this is That Medic Network. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment on who you potentially would want to see next.
Can I start?
Okay, ready? Yeah. 3, 2.
So what do we say for the HLA? Why we took part?
Don't move chin.
Sorry, I'm just going to stop.
Just when you end it.
Don't look away.
Yeah,
that is not going anywhere.
Just another day at the office.
Hi, I'm no.
Most important thing is what I've learned from the HLA and adapting it and moving forward and making sure, I make use of it. The reason why I don't know what to say.
If I make a mistake, can I just take a pause and then start again?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I don't know what to say. Don't record this.
I've really enjoyed it. I've learned so much, and I've really benefited from. Oh God, what have I benefited from? Oh.
Okay.
Is that it's been a fantastic. Oh no, I've lost it.
Can you give me a countdown?
I don't know how much to gesticulate. How much? It's quite a mellow person. I don't know.
I'm ready.
Thank you.
Okay, I think I'll chop and add some things. We're looking forward to seeing you. Bye-bye.